The city is never silent. Every corner hides a secret. Every shadow whispers a threat. The streets that once bowed to fear are about to meet a force unlike anything they've seen before. A new king is rising, one whose power will shake every alliance, break every trust, and turn every familiar face into a potential enemy. Everyone thought they knew the rules, but in this game, the rules are changing, and at the center of it all, Kanan watches, waits, and prepares to strike. Are you ready to see the streets burn? In the dark heart of the city, the streets pulse with tension. Whispers travel faster than cars. And every alley tells a story of danger. For years, gangs battled for territory, for power, and for respect. But no new presence looms over the skyline, a presence that demands attention without even showing its face. He is not just another player, he is the one who turns fear into loyalty. The people in his circle know his name, but the city at large only knows the effects of his actions. Money moves faster, weapons change hands quicker, and decisions that once seemed safe now carry deadly consequences. The new boss didn't arrive by chance. Every move was calculated. Every alliance carefully chosen. He has watched the city burn, studied its leaders, and waited for the perfect moment to strike. Unlike those before him, he does not seek chaos for its own sake. His chaos is precise, targeted, and terrifying. Rival gang members speak of him in hushed tones, their fear palpable. Even the police sense a shift in the air, a subtle change that signals someone has taken control behind the scenes. His influence spreads quietly but undeniably, like a shadow creeping through every corner of the city, touching everything without being seen. Those who oppose him learn quickly that resistance is dangerous. A handshake might hide a knife. A smile might mask betrayal, and loyalty comes with a price. Every decision carries weight because one wrong move could mean disappearance, or worse, despite his youth. The new boss commands respect far beyond his years. People follow him not just because they fear him, but because they see the promise of a future they want to be part of, power, wealth, and influence that they have only dreamed of. The streets are his chessboard, and every pawn, rook, and knight is moved with exact precision. But the city is not silent. Rumors of a familiar name circulate: Kanan, the one who has grown from street kid to feared enforcer, whose ambition and cunning are known even in the darkest corners. Kanan senses the shift, feels the tension in every deal and every handshake. He knows the streets are changing, that loyalty is fragile, and that the new boss is not someone to underestimate. In this city, power is not given, it is taken, and the strongest survive. Kanan's rise and the arrival of the new boss are on a collision course, and no one knows who will come out on top. Every alliance could crumble, every friendship could fracture, and every decision could ignite a war that will consume the streets. The new boss's rise is not just about power. It is a statement. It is a warning to anyone who dares underestimate him. He moves like a ghost unseen, but felt everywhere, influencing deals, controlling operations, and manipulating rivals to do his bidding. From luxurious penthouses to dark alleys, his reach is limitless. The city watches, waits, and trembles, not knowing when he will strike next or who will be the next to fall. And in the midst of all this, Kanan prepares. He is a survivor, a strategist, and a force to be reckoned with. The coming season will reveal their clashes, their ambitions, and the secrets that neither of them is willing to share. The city is a stage, and the new Mafia boss has just taken the lead. The city is changing, and the shift is unmistakable. Where chaos once reigned, strategy now dictates the streets. The new boss moves silently, his presence felt in every corner, yet his face remains a mystery. He doesn't announce himself with flashy violence. He claims control through precision. Dealers who once ran freely find themselves paying tribute. Enforcers rethink loyalties, and rival gangs hesitate where they once struck without fear. Every move he makes is calculated, a chess game played with deadly stakes, and the city is learning quickly that hesitation could be fatal. Rumors spread like wildfire as shipment disappears overnight, A gang alliance fractures, a trusted lieutenant. Suddenly vanishes small tremors that ripple through the criminal underworld. Each event is a message. Power has a new owner. Fear mixes with curiosity. Some whisper about a man who sees everything, knows everyone, and predicts every move before it happens. Others are more practical, scrambling to understand his influence. Over the police, the politicians, even the law itself, nothing happens by chance. Every opportunity, every threat, every handshake is orchestrated. The streets are no longer a playground of impulsive violence, they are a stage for a mind that moves 10 steps ahead. Within this rising tension, Kanan senses the subtle shifts. He notices the smaller details first. Operations that stall without explanation, allies who hesitate, rival moves that seem unusually coordinated. He recognizes a pattern, a hand guiding events with precision. He knows this isn't random, it is a power play, a calculated expansion that could change everything he has built. Kanan understands the rules of the streets better than anyone. But even he feels the pressure of a new force carving out its territory. The city that once belonged to him, at least in part, is slipping into unfamiliar hands. Every conversation, every street corner, every silent glance could hold the key to survival or betrayal. The new boss is careful, methodical, and relentless. He doesn't need to show strength constantly. His influence spreads like a shadow that touches everyone without notice. One by one, he isolates his rivals, creating divisions that make them easier to manage, easier to defeat. He rewards loyalty with power and protection. And he punishes betrayal with quiet, devastating efficiency. Stories circulate of men who spoke too loudly or acted too boldly only to disappear without warning, and yet no one truly knows who he is, where he comes from, or what his ultimate goal might be. This uncertainty fuels the fear, because when the enemy is invisible, every person becomes vulnerable. Meanwhile, Kanan observes from the edges. He studies the patterns, watches the rise, and recognizes a challenge unlike any he has faced. He feels the tension in every deal, every street interaction, and every movement of the underworld. He knows that to maintain his position, he must adapt, anticipate, and act before it's too late. The coming battles won't be won just by strength, they will be fought with strategy, alliances, and the ability to read the hidden moves of a cunning adversary. The city itself feels the pressure. As everyday citizens sense the undercurrent of change, businesses shudder quietly, nights become louder with whispers, and shadows move faster than before. In this shifting world, alliances are fragile. Friends may turn into enemies overnight. Rival gangs scramble to understand the new hierarchy, some seeking to challenge the rise, others choosing to align themselves with the unseen power to survive. Loyalty is no longer guaranteed, it must be earned, tested, and proven. Kanan, aware of the stakes, begins preparing for what he knows is inevitable, a confrontation with a force that could rival or even surpass his own influence. Every street, every operation, every hand extended in trust or threat is a calculated move in a larger game, one that will determine who truly controls the city. The new boss doesn't just take power, he reshapes it. The rules that once governed the streets are gone. The familiar balance of fear, respect, and opportunity no longer applies. The city's underworld watches, waits, and calculates, and Kanan, a survivor and a strategist, understands that the game has entered a new era. No one is untouchable, and no move is safe. The streets are changing, the alliances are shifting, and a storm is gathering that will engulf anyone unprepared for the power of the unseen king. The city is no longer the same. The new boss has made his presence undeniable, and with his rise comes the first tremors of conflict. Rival gangs are restless, their old rivalries reignited by the sudden power shift. Deals that once seemed secure are now fragile. Alliances, fragile threads that could snap with a single misstep. Trust is scarce, and everyone knows that even a familiar face could carry a hidden dagger. The streets themselves feel tense. Every alley is staged for confrontation. every shadow a potential threat. The new boss doesn't start wars without purpose, but when he moves, the consequences ripple quickly, leaving destruction and fear in their wake. Kanan feels the pressure more than anyone. He has seen violence, survived betrayals, and ruled corners of the city with sharp instincts. But even he recognizes the danger in a foe who manipulates from the shadows. He watches as smaller gangs falter, caught between loyalty and survival, and as allies who once seemed dependable hesitate or vanish entirely. Even those closest to him begin questioning their choices. Kanan knows that this is no ordinary rise to power. It is a test of wits, patience, and nerve. Every move he makes must be calculated, because the new boss is already proving that patience and precision can outperform brute force. The first betrayals come quietly. A shipment is lost, a trusted lieutenant disappears, and rumors spread of a meeting that never happened. Kanan begins to sense that some of the people he counted on may already be playing both sides. The new boss isn't just challenging the gangs, he is challenging the very nature of loyalty itself. He forces people to make choices that tensions escalate as rival factions begin to clash openly. Skirmishes in back alleys, sudden raids, and whispered threats create an atmosphere where no one feels safe. The new boss rarely shows himself during these confrontations, but his influence is everywhere, a ghost pulling strings that send enemies against one another. Kanan, aware of this subtle manipulation, starts to adjust his own moves, anticipating betrayals before they happen, preparing to strike before others can. Even the most seasoned enforcers begin to realize that the game is no longer predictable. The rules have changed, and the price of error is higher than ever before. Amidst this growing tension, Kanan also recognizes the potential for opportunity. Every challenge, every betrayal, every subtle move by the new boss creates openings for those clever enough to exploit them. Kanan's mind races, considering alliances, strategies, and countermoves. He knows that survival isn't enough. He must regain influence, understand the new power structure, and reclaim the edge that made him formidable in the past. Yet, even as he plans, he cannot ignore the fact that the new boss is always one step ahead, quietly orchestrating events in a way that keeps everyone guessing. The city begins to feel like a powder keg. Every street corner holds tension, every deal carries risk, and every relationship is tested. Allies become suspects, rivals become pawns, and fear becomes a currency more valuable than money or weapons. The first major conflict between the new boss and Kanan's world is inevitable, and the streets sunset. The whispers grow louder, the glances sharper, and the nights feel darker. In this high-stakes game, the first betrayals are just the beginning. The full storm has yet to arrive, and both Kanan and the city are about to be forced to pay the cost of ambition, loyalty, and survival in ways they never imagined. The city hums with danger, and Kanan can feel it in every heartbeat. The new boss may have claimed the streets with silence and shadow, but Kanan is no stranger to the art of survival. He watches, listens, and studies the patterns that others overlook, learning the hidden movements of his unseen enemy. Each betrayal, each lost shipment, each fractured alliance is not just a challenge, it is a clue. Slowly, methodically, he begins plotting his response. Kanan knows that brute force alone will not be enough. To regain control, he must outsmart a foe who thinks several steps ahead, someone who manipulates the entire underworld like pieces on a chessboard. Kanan starts reclaiming territory quietly, striking where the new boss least expects it. A rival dealer's shipment vanishes, forcing a temporary truce. A secret meeting is exposed, shaking faith among the new boss's allies. Every calculated move sends a message. Kanan is still a force to be reckoned with. His reputation spreads faster than the whispers of fear the new boss has sown. For the first time, cracks appear in the unseen king's facade. Allies who once felt safe under the new boss's influence begin to doubt. Kanan's counter-strategy is not about immediate revenge, it's about planting seeds of mistrust, creating uncertainty, and reminding everyone that control is never absolute. The tension in the city reaches new heights. Streets once ruled by fear and obedience are now battlegrounds of strategy and cunning. Every conversation, every transaction carries suspicion. Even minor players sense the shift, knowing that one wrong step could result in ruin. The new boss, previously untouchable, now faces the first real opposition. He senses Kanan's moves, but cannot fully anticipate them, and that uncertainty begins to spread unease through his carefully built empire. No one can ignore the fact that the game has changed. The power struggle is no longer theoretical. It is raw, immediate, and dangerous. Amid the growing chaos, Kanan's relationships are tested. Loyal allies must choose whether to follow him into conflict or seek safety elsewhere. Friendships are strained under the weight of risk, and betrayals feel inevitable. Yet Kanan thrives under pressure, his instincts sharp, his mind calculating. He knows that every challenge is also an opportunity. Each fracture among rival ranks, each hesitant glance from a once faithful ally becomes a tool he can use to his advantage. Patience, observation, and precise action become his weapons, sharper than any gun or blade dot at the same time. The new boss escalates in response. Subtle threats turn into sudden attacks. Invisible manipulation becomes open intimidation. The streets feel like a powder keg ready to explode. Tension is almost tangible. Even the night air feels heavy with the promise of conflict. Kanan anticipates this escalation and positions himself carefully, setting traps and creating diversions that put the new boss on edge. Neither side can make a move without the other noticing. The city is a stage, and every street, every alley, every corner has become part of a game that could end in total domination or total destruction. As both forces prepare for what is coming, the stakes reach beyond territory and influence. Family, loyalty, and survival hang in the balance. Kanan knows that one miscalculated move could destroy everything he has fought for. The new boss knows that letting Kanan regain momentum would threaten the power he has carefully crafted. The tension is electric, and the city itself seems to hold its breath. Every pawn, every player, every decision matters. Violence is inevitable, but strategy will decide the winner. The clash between Kanan and the new boss is no longer distant. It is coming closer with every heartbeat. And the streets are about to witness a confrontation that will change everything they thought they knew about power, loyalty, and survival. The city waits on edge, as though it knows that the calm before the storm is over. The rise of the new boss has shifted the balance of power, but Kanan's counterattacks have made the underworld unpredictable. Every street corner, every abandoned warehouse, every dimly lit alley is alive with tension. Even the smallest decisions carry enormous weight. Rival gangs watch each other with suspicion, unsure who will strike first. Allies question loyalty, and enemies anticipate opportunity. The city itself feels like a ticking bomb ready to explode at any moment, and everyone knows the spark could come from anywhere. Kanan and the new boss are now locked in a silent war, each move precise, each action calculated. Violence is no longer random, it is strategy made flesh. Skirmishes erupt, small at first, then larger, testing boundaries and loyalties. Dealers vanish, shipments are hijacked, and secret alliances crumble under pressure. Every action is a message, every consequence a warning. Kanan watches, studies, and reacts, preparing for the decisive moments that will determine who truly rules the streets. The tension is relentless, like a heartbeat echoing through every alley, every building, every shadow. No one in the city can escape it. The first sparks of major conflict begin to flare. Betrayals come faster, more shocking, and more personal. Friends turn into foes, and trusted allies reveal hidden agendas. Kanan is forced to make impossible decisions, protect his people, or strike decisively against the new boss. Every choice carries risk. Every move invites retaliation. The new boss, confident yet cautious, tests his enemies, pulling strings from the shadows while forcing others into situations where loyalty and survival collide. The streets become a chessboard with lives as pieces, and both sides are prepared to gamble everything for dominance. The tension between Kanan and the new boss escalates with each passing moment. The city becomes a stage for high-stakes maneuvers, midnight deals, silent surveillance, coded messages, and sudden confrontations that erupt without warning. The ordinary flow of life is interrupted by the unpredictability of this power struggle. Citizens notice the change. They hear whispers, see fleeting figures in the night, and feel the undercurrent of fear that flows through their neighborhoods. The unseen war touches everyone, even those who try to remain on the sidelines. No one can remain neutral for long. Amid this chaos, the line between friend and enemy blurs. Kanan's intelligence, patience, and cunning are tested as never before. He must anticipate betrayal, exploit weakness, and maintain control of his territory. Even as the new boss manipulates the city from the shadows, each confrontation feels like a prelude to something larger. A warning that the coming days will not just decide control of the streets, but the survival of everyone involved. The new boss's presence is magnetic and menacing. His influence reaches corners Kanan thought untouchable. Every move, every glance, every whispered threat contributes to a rising crescendo of tension. As the season looms, the city braces for inevitable explosions, literal and metaphorical. Kanan knows that victory is not just about strength, but timing, strategy, and the ability to outthink an opponent who always seems one step ahead. The new boss is no ordinary rival. He is an unseen storm, unpredictable and unstoppable. Their confrontation promises betrayal, violence, and revelation, with stakes higher than ever before. The underworld itself is about to be rewritten. Families, loyalties, and empires will be tested. Every player must choose a side or be crushed between the forces of ambition and survival. The city feels the tension like a living thing, breathing, waiting, watching. Kanan's rise, the new boss's power, and the looming storm of betrayal and confrontation set the stage for a season of violence, strategy, and shocking twists. The streets will burn, alliances will fracture, and nothing will remain the same. For the first time, the people of the city realize that this is no ordinary game. The war for power,